Now you good now that you're in?
I've never get mad.
Come here one day.
That's how you stop it, not cheap.
I did with a flash, so it made me think.
I know, it's cool. Just smile. Just smile. Act like it's not there. Just look past it.
Ow! Wait, the person right there, I can't see your face.
Okay, look.
Wow, this lighting is everything. Like, it really does it.
Thank you for coming out tonight to pay your respects to those killed in Mogadishu, Somalia. This past Saturday, October 14th, 2017.
There was a truck packed with several. No, I'm gonna have to look this. There was a truck packed with several hundred kilograms of both military-grade and homemade explosives. An unidentified terrorist took this truck to a well-known and very busy area in the capital of Mogadishu with intention to kill hundreds of people. At least 300 people were killed not last night, but that night. And rescue workers will continue to search for bodies under the rubble with the little resources that they have. This is the deadliest terrorist attack to happen anywhere in the world in many years. And please know that many of those that were killed were ordinary people. We're talking about taxi drivers, street food vendors, families, and school children.
We are here tonight to grieve and to allow a space to grieve for Somali Americans who have been personally devastated by this tragedy. We organize one another to heal together. We organize to recognize our pain and sadness and to validate these feelings and the gravity of the situation. The lack of shock and sympathy, and most importantly, the silence for most of the world is deafening. For Somali Americans, it only magnifies the isolation we feel in this country, at our place of work, and in these classrooms here at BU. So tonight, you will hear from us, the Somali students here in Boston and here at Boston University. We hope you open your minds and your hearts to our words and hear and heed to our calls as well. To start off, I'd love to introduce, hold on Hashi. I'd like to introduce Firdousa Abdul, a junior here at Boston University.
Hi everybody, can you guys hear me? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Hello, my name is Firdousa Abdul, and I'm a junior here at BU. I kind of don't know how I should start this, but I guess I'll start with my country is dying. I know, sorry, my grandpa. And I think about this a lot. What I'm trying to say here is that there's a specific type of guilt that manifests when your whole country is suffering and you're not. When a med student was killed a day before her graduation and you're going to class. When 1 in 8 Somali children under the age of 5 are malnourished and you're full. When you survive and you know that so many others don't. And I want to pray for Somalia. I want it to heal. I want it to be everything that my parents have ever hoped and wished it to be. I want to stop feeling guilty for not being there. I want to know that there's somewhere for me on this planet that wants me there and was made for me. Because there's so many of us that go around not knowing what that feels like, and it's not fair. I want to remember those victims who suffered on Saturday.
The look in my mother's eyes as she explained to me what happened is something that I'll never be able to forget. Her childhood hometown, where she has her fondest memories, has been destroyed. Her childhood friends, nowhere to be found. Hour after hour, she desperately tried to contact our relatives in Somalia, and every time she failed. And every hour my fear that the next call would destroy her. During these hours of uncertainty, it was inevitable that our minds went to the worst possible places. And in those moments where global issues, in this case terrorism, that you thought could never affect you, began to manifest and become real. What's interesting to me, however, is that despite the rise of anti-terrorism rhetoric throughout the US and really throughout the world, this bombing in Somalia gained little to no media attention. So my question is, what determines which tragedies we care about and which we don't? It's an unfortunate truth that we live in a country and really a world where we choose when we want to uphold the belief that all humans are equal and that we should be treated as such. Yesterday in class, as I was reflecting about how I felt, a student came up to me and she said, "No offense or anything, but how is it that you are a self-proclaimed American who grew up in American culture and choose to identify as, and then you choose to identify as a Somali only when it benefits you?" So obviously, I had an extreme reaction. I was angry, I was frustrated, and I just felt completely misunderstood. So I was angry because I felt like people just weren't getting me. No one seemed to understand the impossible middle ground that first generation Somali youth live in. How can you expect me to, on one hand, feel nothing for the country that has shaped my culture, my religion, and my values, the country that my mother once called home? And on top of that, how can you expect me to fully claim a country that was built on the fundamental principle that people like me are less than everyone else? As a Muslim, a black woman who immigrated here from Somalia as a child, I don't think I've ever felt like people treated me as equal. Whether it was the criminalization of black people and immigrants, or the racialization of Islam, our country has created the perfect formula for discrediting and dismissing my people, while still patting themselves on the back for being moral, upstanding people. Every day, young Somali kids like me give everything we have to fit in a society that does everything to show us that we're not wanted. But they don't get to make that decision. They don't get to minimize me to a series of labels that don't even really exist, but that they created. They don't get to do that to any of us. I won't let them if you shouldn't either. I would like to end with a quote from one of my biggest role models, Minnesota State Representative Ilhan Omar. She's the first Somali to hold a position of power, or a government position in the US. And she says, "As we mourn the senseless killings of so many innocent people, unity in this time of crisis is crucial." And yeah, this is not written down, but this is just for me. I think it's important that regardless of if you're not Muslim, if you're not Somali, if you're not an immigrant, if you're not black, everyone's a minority to some extent, and I think it's important that we all come together and we all speak up for each other, because in the end, all the minorities together, we do make up the majority. So yeah.
Now I'd like to introduce
my name is Jamal Adden again. Okay. So, denial, numbness, anxiety, headaches, fatigues, helplessness, hopelessness, despair, isolation. This is a fraction of the feelings I've encountered as a result of the horrendous terrorist attacks on my family's home country. Yesterday, my dear friend and Somali sister, Hudden, texted me and asked me to speak today. I instantly thought, what would I say? I have no idea. I thought this because typically ordinary words fail us. And I'm very mindful that mere words cannot match the depths of our people's sorrow, nor can they heal our wounded hearts. But yet it is impossible to remain mute and say nothing. I want everyone here to know that you are not alone in your grief, that many families have been torn apart, that all across the US and the world, others, including myself, have wept with you. I say wept because weeping is not the same as crying. It takes your whole body and soul to weep. And when it's over, you feel like you don't have any of your bones left to hold you up anymore. So I offer these thoughts of outreach as we come together for this vigil. By its own definition and by our intention, this vigil is a remembrance of our brothers and sisters whom we have lost. Our candles are lit, bright and flaming, yet small and all too extinguishable. They will burn tonight with many emotions. There is sadness and grief at the loss we feel, very shocking in its horror, great in its numbers, and a connection to all of us. This is a time to call for moral clarity, a time for us not to be ashamed of our values, a time to understand even more clearly what we believe in, and proudly affirm, live and act upon those beliefs. Today, right now, we can decide to live more consciously. Today, right now, we can give this personal vow in tribute to those whose lives were cruelly cut short. Today, we can choose, in the light of what our candles mean, to take others' hands, lift another's burden, or simply acknowledge another's worth. Today, we can newly consider the word love not the possession of a single religious belief, not a cheap or shallow emotion debased by our commercialism and popular entertainment, but the riskiest, profound, yet fragile glue of our common humanity. Love illuminates the often hidden paths of who we are. It finds ways of our paths to connect with the paths of others and allows us to live not alone, but with others. And this is why I ask God to make us an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that we may not such seek to be consoled, but to console. Not to be understood, but to understand. Not to be loved, but to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. And yeah, that's what I have to say.
My name is Lou Mahmoud and I am a junior here at Boston University. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, blessings, and mercy of Allah be with you. To my Somalis, I'm in one accent. Good evening. I wish you all peace and wellness in these days of grieving. I pray for your safety and I pray for your well-being, and I thank you all for coming. Your presence in itself is healing. To know one does not stand alone is empowering. It is healing. Not too long ago, I was at a vigil, at this very spot, at this very time, and its memory remains fresh in my heart and soul. It was for the Rohingya of Burma. It was for the suffering of this Muslim minority undergoing a ceaseless ethnic cleansing, where the bullet of a government militant or the blade of hatred sees no difference between man, woman, and child. My heart was heavy then, and my heart grows heavier and heavier as the murder and suffering of the oppressed and ignored continues. For the Rohingya, I stood with them because they were my people. And as God's ultimate test, I stand here today because those killed in Mogadishu were my people. I am a Somali woman. I am Holland. I am Firdausa. I am Lulu. I am part of all the powerful Somali women before me, the women amongst us. To my fellow Somali women, you are free to grieve. It is your right. It was endowed to you by your Creator. It is a right of yours and one for you to utilize in whatever capacity that may be. You do not need to be silent. You do not need to hold it all in, and you do not need to move on right now. This time is yours, and yours only. For the women here, to the woman burying her child's remains in Mogadishu today, be free to mourn the loss of your people. My family is from Mogadishu. A majority of my family lives there today. The area where the bombing occurred is a place my mother can clearly remember. My heart, my mind, my blood is Somalia. I have yearned for the air of my country from the day I entered this world. I still yearn for the sound of my mother tongue all around me. I yearn for a free Somalia where the painful history we've endured does not control the quality of life we so truly deserve. But the reality is, Somalia is bleeding. Somalia has bled. So many have refused to address these wounds, leaving Somalia to themselves. This new wound has cut deep into the flesh of our people. Its pain ripples through our bodies in every waking moment as more mothers, sisters, fathers, and brothers are pulled from the rubble and laid to rest. This immense pain is then only amplified by the silence the world has given us. Once again, the Somali people are left to suffer alone, heal alone, and stand alone. Let it be clear that this is not a story of hopelessness. We do not carry a culture of sorrow or despair. Yes, we have bared witness to natural tragedies as well as atrocities perpetrated by man. But Somalia has risen, and Somalia will rise again. The Somali people remain steadfast in the progression of their people, and of all people. My own father, my Abu, has taught my sisters and I that a Somali woman is invaluable because not only is she a gift to the world when she enters it, but she is a gift to those before her, those with her, and those after her. And my mother taught me that a true Somali man recognizes the gift that is a Somali woman and will stand beside her as her support. And most importantly, a true Somali man admires the power of a Somali woman and will stand behind her in respect of that power. We grieve today because those precious gifts, those Somali women and men, were taken from us. But to honor the goodness within them, we must never forget what happened that fateful night. We as a people, I pray to you, O Allah, to forgive us and forgive those who have passed for their shortcomings. I pray that you change the fear in the Somali people's hearts to peace and serenity. I pray that you forgive us and place love and a love for one another into our hearts and the hearts of those that hatred occupied. I pray that you infuse into our hearts and the hearts of the survivors and their families a firm faith and wisdom. I pray that you let them be victorious in the battle for their human rights, and I pray that you grant them eternal peace and happiness in the hereafter. My Lord, I pray to you that you will help us against those who practice corruption and benefit from disorder and instability. I pray that you will grant sleep to those who worry of the fate of our people. I pray you restore strength into those who have been shaken by this tragic loss of human life. I pray for the warriors of today and those ahead to remain solid in their fight for justice, for the forgotten, and for the oppressed. I pray that you, Lord, inspire us to restore peace and prosperity to the Somali people. Lord, I pray that you also grant the Somali people relief from the drought, the famine, and disease that continues to harm our people. I pray that you enlighten the silent oppressors and that you release the Somali people from the grips of the same violent terrorism they are so commonly wrongfully accused of. I pray that you bless the people surrounding us for supporting one another and for supporting their Somali peers, colleagues, and friends. Allahumma ameen. Once again, we'd like to thank you all for coming. We appreciate you comforting us, taking the time to grieve with us, taking the time to listen to the pain that lives within us and within those we cannot help. The plight of the Somali American is a special one. It's one that puts worry into our hearts and makes us feel a guilt that no other has felt. But we are here, we are standing, and we will always be standing. I have every one of your backs, and I pray and I hope that you have mine. I refuse to be silenced. I refuse to accept living in the shadows. And I refuse to tell my own brothers and sisters to move on. We deserve our time to grieve. We deserve this time of reflection. And I love you all. I appreciate you all. And may God bring peace to Somalia. And may God bring peace to Afghanistan. May God bring peace to Iraq, to Pakistan, to Burma, to Iran, to every country where people are silently suffering in the darkness. May God bring them all peace. And may God open the ways for them to find that peace, whether it's in this life or the one after. Long live Somalia. Thank you.
Hello? There we go. My bad. Alright, so I wrote this poem Saturday night, and it's called 10-14-17. King cobras intersect, fangs protruding, looking for easy flesh. They attack simultaneously. Crimson streets, white sheets, funeral shrouds, white lilies, and dangling feet just to meet the Lord. Wrenched from the earth, left behind a black mark, and jagged shards in every heart. I bear witness. Every mission begins with understanding, but even God won't forgive this. May they never rest in peace. I pray the snakes rest in pieces. I count the creases in my eyes. I despise murder. O sons of Cain, born to bring pain and stand to gain fleeting fame. May you remain unknown, unnamed graves marked X like Malcolm. May justice be the falcon, soaring high above the clouds, you can almost count them. I wish someone could have stopped them, or at least popped them, grab the shotgun and take the bombs and toss them. One shatter ricocheted around the world. Mogadishu, the city of wonder, African splendor, marketplace vendors, rise from the ashes, never surrender.
Everyone. I'm clearly not Somali, but the Somali people are like my family, and I love them very dearly. This is from my heart. I stand before you in grief, helpless, empty-handed, but I want to offer myself
To you all, offer my home. To you all, offer my hand for you to hold on to. Offer my shoulder for you to clutch onto and to cry onto. I know that it's really easy to fall into this hole of emptiness and sadness, but I don't want you to never lose faith and never lose hope, because I am here with you. We are all here with you. We stand with you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. God is with you. And I just beg of you not to lose faith and not to lose hope in these times, in these horrific times, because I've been there and I've felt this guilt eating my sanity away. So I want you to stay hopeful and have faith and know that we are all with you. We stand with you. And long live Somalia. And I love you. I love you all.
Love you too.
Hi guys, my name is Marian. I'm 15 years old and that's my older brother right there. But even though I'm 15, I still feel the pain and sorrow that they're feeling. And I was born and raised here, but I still feel what they're feeling. My brother Jamal and my older brother Fatah were both born in refugee camps, and now they're both successful. He just graduated from BU, and the other is a junior at Harvard. So to say that there's no hope, peace, or determination in Somalia is false. And in this day and age, especially now, there's a bunch of portrayal of hate and evil. But I pledge as proud Muslim and Somali American to portray positivity and peace.
Do the side.